Alright, there was your little goof for the day. Thought I don't know, maybe start the video off a little stupid. So anyway, it's after Christmas break, it's the new year, and I'm out in the shop doing some serious work. I've got the work bug in me now. So as you can see, we've got no engine and trans in the Challenger now. So my dad and I decided, well, I decided with the help of my dad, to pull the motor and start getting it gone through, get the heads fixed, replace all the gaskets, and really get her up to snuff. So here she is, the old 440. Pistons, geez, the cylinders, bores look really nice all around. There's a lot of cross hatching. A little bit of surface rusting on probably this one, and let's see, number 3, number 5, but nothing that can't be honed out. I mean, I can catch my finger a little bit on this, but that can be honed out real easily. I don't think this needs to be bored over. It's already bored 30 over. I don't need to go any more. So yeah. Oil pan. Now this was kind of interesting taking off. I'm thinking this motor sat for so long that just, yeah, get out of the way. All the oil and dirt that had been in the engine just over 20 years slowly settled to the bottom and in the galleys here of the valley, whatever. In the little depressions here, there's sludge, really dark carbony soot sludge, and same with the oil pan. So yeah, here, we'll do this just to show. Ew, why did I touch it? But you can see that oil is really clean, but there's a really dark sludge on the bottom. So that's gonna get cleaned up, no big deal. But it's just something like I kind of noted on the engine with the teardown. Torque converter, yeah, let's see. So the transmission looks great. Leaking a little bit from the bottom. You know, the gasket's probably gone bad. I imagine it's a cork gasket, because most of the things on that engine were cork, the gaskets. So took this out, and we're going to have this rebuilt by a guy here in town. He's going to do that for me. And it's just, all he's doing is going to replace all the seals, gaskets, and I don't know, whatever replacement parts go into a 727. Let's see. So yeah, we'll start going through the other parts here. We got the cam. I finally was able to identify this cam. It is a mild cam. It's a Mopar purple shaft cam. It's stamped 92620 on the end. And my Facebook friends online helped me identify that it's a 284/484 purple cam, meaning it's got 484 lift, and I believe it's 284 duration. I don't know. It's one of those. I know for a fact it's 484 intake, advertised intake lift. Now, I also read online that this cam doesn't usually work well with power brakes, because at idle, this engine has really low intake manifold vacuum pressure, or intake vacuum, and usually at idle you have a high vacuum in your intake, which is what, well, actually the power steering is hooked up to the carburetor. So yeah, this little hose bib here will go to the carburetor that's supposed to be right here. So we're supposed to have high vacuum at idle, but with this cam, people say it's got low vacuum and it may affect power steering, but I don't know. The brakes worked pretty well when I was driving it, all 2 miles of it. So anyway, here we go. We got the cam gear, the timing chain. Timing chain is amazing. Everything moves really good. It looks really good. No discoloration, aside from that one, but that's the initial linkage. But yeah, cam. Oh, here. So we'll look at the cam lobes. There's a little bit of wear on that one and that one, but that's expected with any cam. But overall, there is nothing wrong with this cam at all. It looks amazing. And same with the lifters. I've got them in the box here. They're all wrapped up in packages, and I've got them labeled 1 through 8, L and R. So yeah, I took them out from each, or no, I took them out from this side first, labeled them R, took them out from this side, labeled them L. That way, when they go back in, they're going to be mated back with the lobes that they, came out of. So I don't have to do any re-break-in process of the cam and lifters. All right, so I guess kind of the focus of the video here is we're going to be inspecting the pistons. Now, I've been watching a lot of Uncle Tony's Garage here on YouTube, and he did a whole video on what to expect, what to inspect for pistons when you pull an engine apart. And so I wrote down some highlights here. So the first thing we're going to inspect is the rod cap bolt length. He says you want them to be 1 to 2 thousandths within each other. So when you measure all 16 of them, you want them to be within 1 to 2 thou of each other. And then as a note, he says anything within 5 to 10 thou is junk. Just throw them away, get yourself a whole new set for the engine, call it a good. Then we're going to inspect the bottom of the rod for discoloration. So he's saying the bottom of the rod right here, you want to look at it for any bluing, overheating scenarios. So we'll go through all of them and check for that. Inspect the piston skirts for chips and chunks. So, areas around here, we're going to look for chunks missing, for chips, cracks, anything like that. If you're going to inspect for cracks near the wrist pin. So in his video, he shows, these are massive pistons, by the way. I think these are like they're either 4 1/4 or 4.5 inches round. They are massive, and they are beautiful. Anyway, so he says if you're going to get a crack in a piston by the wrist pin, it's generally going to be on this diagonal. Okay, on the bottom, going from, around here down to this corner. And so he says to look on both sides of the wrist pin when you're looking for cracks. So after that, we're then at the same time we're doing that, we're inspecting and ensuring that the pin moves freely in the, that you get good movement here, and yeah, you get good movement there. It's a little sticky because I've got a race oil in there right now. But yeah, we'll check all of those to make sure that the wrist pins move freely. And then last thing is inspecting the top and bottom ring lands. Basically there is, you want to check for anything if these rings get seized anywhere. That will tell you if your piston has crunched or collapsed at all. You'll see that a piston or that a ring will get caught up in it. So yeah, we'll do that again on all the pistons here, and we'll come back in a few minutes and report that. So first thing I'm going to do, I've already checked a couple of the pistons. So number 1, number 2, this one was about 10 thou. I'll just kind of spoil it. It was about 10 thou difference between even those two. So I'm already suspecting that I'm going to have bad rods, or in quotes, junk rod bolts all the way around. So I'm going to write them down. I'm going to create a little chart. I'll measure all of these. I'll write what their lengths are, and we'll come back to that here in a minute. All right, so I finished up the inspection of the rod cap bolts, and we'll go over the results here, which I'm not particularly happy with. So number 1, starting down there, had a difference of 5 thousandths. And okay, let me go over this real quick. So TMB, I labeled these top and bottom, and how I differentiated that is on each piston there's a number. Okay, so there it is, 1. So I'm associating the number with T, or top, and no number on the back is bottom. I don't know if that's right or wrong. I'm just associating it that way. That way these bolts have an assignment of what they are. So yeah, so piston number 1 had 5 thou difference between the two bolts. Number 2 had quite a big jump. What is that? 36 thousandths of an inch. That's a lot. That's a real lot of length. And actually, the bottom one ended up being the smallest or the shortest of all the bolts. Number 3 had 4 thou. Number 5 had 40 thou. Or sorry, number 4 had 40 thou, which, holy crap. Number 5 had 2, which is pretty good. That's what we want to see right there. Number 6 was, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 thou. Number 7 was 10 thou. Number 8 was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 thou. I don't know what to tell of this. I don't know if that means they've stretched, or I don't know if that means that all of them have stretched and only 2 of them haven't, or if 2 of them were just undersized. I don't know. That's kind of weird. Now, I do notice number 1 and number 2 caps go on kind of difficult. Number 1 especially. I really have to push it on and wiggle it on to get it to fit. So I am suspect of these being bad. Number 2, kind of the same thing. Not as bad. I'm able to get it down, but it is a struggle. The rest of them do pretty good, and actually, it's weird. Number 7 and 8 are the best. I mean, like, look at this. They just slide. Let me make sure the numbers line up here. Otherwise, they won't go on okay. Like, boom. That's down at the bottom. That's what you want. You want it to just boop, boop, boop. Whereas number 1, okay, flip it around. See, I can't even get it started without wiggling it. Yeah, that's not very good. All right, I don't want to mess with that. So I'm probably going to look into getting a new set of rod cap bolts. Shouldn't be a big cost, I don't think, but we'll figure it out. Okay, so there's that inspection done. Getting into the next one here is going to be inspecting the bottom of the rod for discoloration. So starting at number 1, I don't see anything. Yeah, looks good. Now, this one is kind of funny. It's got like copper antices or something all over it. I don't know what this is. And shit, I actually just noticed that it's on the surface here. I don't know what that is. It's all over the rod cap. Like it's a different color. I have no idea what that is. When I take this to the machine shop later this week, I'm going to ask him what this is. Why it is like that. Anyway. Alright, looking at this one. Yeah, it looks good. Number 7. Now this one, I am very suspect on damage. Not for discoloration, but dings. So I don't see any discoloration, but there's a nice... Oh, there's 2 gouges there on the rod. Yeah. Ugh, I don't know. I mean, the engine ran really good with that, but I bet if I get up to high RPM and I put a lot of stress on this, that is where the failure is going to happen. Again, I'll give that to the machine shop to figure it out. All right, number 8, discoloration, none. Looks really good. And we want to see crosshatch. Now, that is the one thing I will give these Pistons a lot of credit for. There is a lot of really good crosshatch on both the rod and the rod cap. I don't know if this can... Oh, yeah, there we go. You can kind of pick it up. So, yeah, number 1 looks really good. Number 2, really good. Basically the same with all of them. I mean, these all... I've got really good crosshatch on them. That one's just got a little bit of oil and smudge. Yeah, that cleans up. So yeah, we've got crosshatch on both the piston, or sorry, the rods and the rod caps. So that's good. Now we're going to inspect the piston skirts for cracks and chips. Now I've already done that, and there's no damage on these pistons. There may be a little bit of gouging, like not really gouging, just kind of a scuff right there on a few of these. But I'm imagining that's just a casting defect and doesn't affect the performance of them. There is a little scratch right there, but again, that doesn't affect anything. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to inspect for cracks near the wrist pin. Again, I've already done that, and they've all passed. I've got no cracks. Again, let me do this one hand. There would be a crack right here, or roughly right here, or right here. Or it could be different, you know, it could be anywhere on this piston, but that's where they would normally show up, is what Uncle Tony's Garage says on his video. Now, there's a little bit of scoring right here, but that is like normal. Just normal wear. Okay. Ensure the pins move freely. Again, already done that. They move really nice in and out. They move really nice back and forth. All of them do. And then inspect the top and bottom ring lands. So I've still got the rings in them. I didn't do the exact test that Tony does. He takes a ring outside of the piston and rolls it all the way around. But with pistons in this, none of these are binding. Yeah, these all feel really good. This piston is huge. That's what she said. But yeah, so again, I've checked all these, and the dimensions of them haven't changed. They're not crushed. They're not rusted. They don't bind. So I'm very happy with the entire state of this engine. Now, the bearings, I'm debating on whether I should put them back in or not. I'm going to have a lot of flack from people that say, you know, don't put them back in. My friends say, don't put them back in. Just get all new ones, because that's just what you do. Well, you know what? I kind of don't care. These older engines are made to, well, not really made to last, but they're made to be worked, you know. So these bearings haven't been worked a lot. There is wear, there's visible wear, but it's on the microscopic level. Like, I cannot feel the difference between the shiny and the matte finish on these, on any of them. They all are perfect. The crank journals are perfect. Yeah, it's a cheap insurance. It's $80, $90, maybe $100. Well, actually, no, $120. $80 to $100 for the rings. But yeah, $120, $130 insurance. I mean, for what I'm doing, yeah, I'll throw some new bearings in. Okay, everybody, you happy? Anyway, yeah, so when it comes to inspecting the pistons and the rod caps coming out of an engine that's been run, those are the things you want to do. So in the future here, we're going to be getting some new rod cap bolts. We're going to be getting new bearings. I'm going to have all these gone through at the machine shop just to make sure that, you know, they're good. I'm going to have that rod checked out. You know, maybe it'll be good. I mean, I don't know. I'm assuming it's good, but we'll just make sure that it is able to hold up to the horsepowers. And, yeah, so that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and take it easy.